Welcome to another Across the Nation here on AmericanFreePress.net. And I'm at a very special, if not troubling place in Elbert County, Georgia, the granite capital of the world, as it calls itself. And we're at the infamous Georgia Guidestones, which, as I assert, have the smell and scent and philosophy of Rockefeller all over them, as my research indicates. At any rate, this is the marker that explains a lot of facts about the Georgia Guidestones, sort of an American Stonehenge of globalism. And they were made by a mysterious sounding group called the Guidestones Group, which wished to remain anonymous forever, quote, end quote, according to this informational stone. And the Guidestones' central thing is that they're essentially the 10 Commandments of globalism, or one worldism as it's sometimes called. And my assistant Angie is going to help me come this way, and we're actually seeing the stones right now, and she'll show that despite the sun glare. It's a very sunny day here in latter 2010, and these stones are about 20 feet high and consists of 240,000 pounds of granite. Now coming this way slowly, they're in several languages, including Spanish right here, and a number of other languages, as we'll explain more momentarily. Coming around to the side that's written in English, this 20-foot mega slab of Georgia granite shows a number of these 10 Commandments. The top, as Angie will try to show, says, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. And it has a bunch of other impressive and broad-sounding platitudes that are typical of the globalist movement. Statements that are so broad that they can be interpreted many different ways. Of course, the very objectionable thing and troubling thing about the first commandment, notice that it's first, is to maintain humanity at a balance of under 500 million. That would mean getting rid of upwards of 6 billion people in some mysterious way that the mysterious founders of these stones are not telling us, since they like to hide in the shadows and not stand up and be accountable or known for what they do. At any rate, the Earth Charter, drawn up some years ago in conjunction with the United Nations, has Stephen Rockefeller behind it, who is the son of Nelson Rockefeller, one of his sons, and he very strongly pushed the Earth Charter. And if you look up the Earth Charter at earthcharter.org online, you'll see a very close philosophical kinship with the Georgia Guidestones philosophy and the Earth Charter. It's this idea that fewer people on the world makes the world a better place, when Christianity and a number of other outlooks completely contradict that view. The globalists have given us man-made global warming, which is turning out to be a sham. They've given us their so-called global cooling back in the 1970s that turned out not to be true. We were constantly given scare stories, and we're constantly being preached at by the globalists about how there has to be fewer people on the earth, and that we have to always bend to their will for elitist projects and central banking and interventionist wars and onerous environmental regulations, where we have to deindustrialize our nation and live a much more pauperized living and lifestyle. At any rate, now you're looking at the 10 Commandments of globalism that are far, far different than the 10 Commandments of the Bible altogether. The 10 Commandments of the Bible being kind of a code of living, this really being more of a code of dying and perishing for the common man. Sure, there are other things. Get rid of petty laws and useless officials, and protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. But those are largely empty platitudes, when the very first commandment says to get rid of 9/10 of the world population in some unknown way, as I noted. Now lastly, we're coming over this way to one other marker here in this remote part of Elbert County, Georgia. And this gives the languages that the stones are written in: Russian, English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, and Chinese. And it gives a bunch of other facts. It even tells you which way you're standing here. But the bottom line here, ladies and gentlemen, is that this Guidestones group that put this together, that has been remaining in the shadows now since 1980, when this was put up, this American Stonehenge. Now we're in the 30th year of this, and this Guidestones group still refuses to reveal itself who underwrote this precisely. The Elbert Granite Finishing Company did the actual physical work, but the people have a right to know who put together this 10 Commandments to genocide, you might call it. and certainly the philosophical kinship with the Earth Charter as Stephen Rockefeller promoted some years ago as a United Nations related initiative where all people are supposed to live in harmony, and under the tutelage and under the direction that globalists give us in their one world system. Certainly we can see that philosophical kinship, and American Free Press will continue to explore this issue to try and get to the bottom of who precisely the Guidestones group is. At any rate, we recognize the relationship to the Earth Charter, and we certainly sound the alarm here about such a dystopian and downward look at the common man by the one worlders in our 21st century. So we'll see you next time. Here on AmericanFreePress.net, I'm Mark Anderson with this Across the Nation commentary.